Welcome to the Hellmouth. I hope everybody is doing 5 by 5. We're so happy to have you here. To my left, your right, is the kindest person I've ever met. And listen, in a world this cruel, it's tough to be kind. My wonderful, beautiful husband, Eric Lane Porter Martin the First.
Thank you. That was really sweet and a fun change of pace.
How did I do?
You nailed it, and now you're hired, and now I don't have to do it anymore.
Great.
We're just going to have you introduce the show from now on. Again, this is Major Slayage. Ket Arik rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She forgot to introduce herself.
Oh, yeah.
That's Ket.
Yeah. So what are your quick takes on this?
Quick takes. I liked this episode.
I did. I liked it a lot. And here's what I'm wondering, though. Did we like it that much more because it was no longer episode 10 Nightmares?
Yes, I think having that to compare to definitely helped things.
Yeah.
But I think I will say that this I thought was the best use so far of this show's kind of trope of personifying the horrors of high school.
Yeah.
Into classic monster tropes.
Yeah.
I thought this was brilliantly done, and we'll get to some things that happened throughout the episode that just reinforced that for me. But I thought this is a only occasionally clunky, mostly really enjoyable, good, effective, and frankly scary episode.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so business. Don't forget to, subscribe to this and like it with a click of a button. Comment, but only if it's nice. I don't want to hear it if it's not. He doesn't care, but don't say anything mean about me. And we also have a Patreon where you can watch the episode along with us and listen to our commentary. And it's only $5 a month, which is like literally less than a coffee. It's less than a coffee.
Depending on where you live. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
I had no idea you were going to take on this much of the MC duties today. This is fantastic. I get to just take the episode off, just kind of kick back because you're also going to lead us through the synopsis.
Yeah.
I'm just here to sling jokes at this point.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hope you brought jokes.
Stake that subscribe button. Check us out on the Patreon. We also have the audio version of this show. So if you want to listen to us in your earbuds and you don't have the ability to listen to YouTube for whatever the reason, some people they can't close it and still keep listening. So that was a roundabout way of saying $5 a month. Bonus episodes. It's a lot of fun over there. Come join us. Now we get to what I've heard from several people, almost upsettingly, is their favorite segment on the show.
Oh, dear.
It had nothing to do with Buffy at all. It has to do with our own horror, our marriage, our marital grievances.
Do you bereave me this week?
Your marital grievance of me a lot of times is that I don't bring anything to the marital grievance segment.
Yeah. It makes me look like an asshole.
Got something today.
Okay.
It's not what we would call back in the old country a hanging offense.
Okay.
But
it's a firing squad offense.
No, it's just a thing that is worth noting. I was looking for something to bring to the show where I could rib you a little bit. Mm-hmm. I've got fuzz on me. Thank you. Here it is. So last night I'm finishing up with my work. I get up to go to the kitchen to put on a kettle to make some water for some tea. Boil the kettle. Water.
Boil
the whole thing. Making tea.
Wow. Boiling the kettle.
I think I need the
firing the water.
I think I need the welcome
intro
to get myself warmed up. I took the first 2 minutes off.
We're starting over.
Back to one. We're gonna do this again. No. So I was gonna put a kettle on, and you heard me. You're like, "Are you making tea? Put some extra water in there. I will also have some tea."
That was
your request.
Yes.
And I'm already making like this big,
honking
tankard of tea.
Yeah.
I got this big mug that my mother-in-law gave me. It's got an owl on it. 2 full glasses of iced tea if I fill this thing up. So I've got a lot of water going, and then I add water for her. I go back to work, and only a few minutes later, she comes in and is like, "Hey, your tea's done steeping." Now I didn't hear it whistle. Mm-hmm. Or not your tea's, but the water's done boiling. I didn't hear it whistle. I'm all over the place.
You are.
I didn't hear it whistle, but I was focused on work. I was a couple rooms away. And frankly, I was counting on her hearing it, getting annoyed, and letting me know
that's usually how it goes.
That it was done. So she's like, "You want me to go ahead and dump it in your mug for you?" And I was like, "Sure." So I go in, tear open a couple of Splendas, dump it in there with my thing. As I'm doing that, my thumb kind of touches the water. And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to burn my thumb." And I had the thought, that wasn't as hot as I was expecting, but I didn't really think anything of it. set a timer for 10 minutes, let the tea steep. Time to transfer the tea from my big mug into a glass of ice to make some iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just clear. It just looks like water.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is herbal tea. It's night. I'm not drinking something caffeinated. So I thought, well, maybe this herbal tea just doesn't get much of a color to it. So then I go to sip it, and it's just tepid Splenda water. There's no tea flavor, smell, any indication that tea has been made whatsoever.
So here's what happened. I think I heard a tea kettle whistle in an episode of Veep that I was watching, and I just got up and dealt with it because at the first decibel of a tea kettle whistling, I am up and at the stove ready to go. So I will say I'm a bit overzealous when it comes to the tea kettle, as opposed to this one who lets it, the top is blowing off. It's blowing off, and he's now just rising from his seat.
No, I definitely, once I hear it whistle, I give it a good 10 Mississippi.
Which is insane. Why would you
finish
do that?
whatever I'm doing before I get up to
the thing you have to finish doing is turn off the stove. That's what you have to. That's insane.
So her very sweet attempt to be helpful put my tea off about 20 minutes.
This is why I'm gonna leave. I'm not the one that does things.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
you would accuse me, if the tables were turned, of weaponized incompetence. I don't think you are weaponizing this at all. I think it's just incompetence.
Right.
And that's okay.
That's fine.
I'm the preparer of most of the food.
I did have to text him today and say, can you please feed me? I got too hungry and now I'm paralyzed.
Yeah,
and he did.
I got up from work and went and made her lunch. So
yeah.
Anyway, so again, not a hanging offense. Actually, kind of funny, but you're always on me that I don't bring any complaints to this segment. So there you go.
All right, let's do a spell.
Let's do a spell. What do you got for us?
So from one of our lovely sort of brother-in-laws gave me a giant bag of bay leaves, and in witchcraft,
which brother-in-law is this?
Namdi.
Oh, Namdi, nice.
And in witchcraft, bay is a
D from KK Sam. If you listen to that show,
bay is a symbol of protection. And then I have also inscribed the bay leaf with two Futhark runes. One,
what did you call me?
One means protection and the other means danger. So this is protection from danger, specifically danger you may not be able to see.
Ooh.
So
I like how she ties it in. That's great. All right, here we go. I'm the lovely assistant. Getting all that crackling, all that good ASMR.
There we go.
I just
protected.
Clanged the microphone on the cauldron there.
All right.
It was like Buffy kicking Moloch.
All right, so let's get started.
You're taking everything. I'm literally just here to sling jokes. I love it.
So here we go. We're in the halls of Sunnydale High School. Cordelia is walking down the hall with her color-coordinated best friend
/ minion.
And her absolute one-celled organism of a boyfriend. The dumbest idiot I've ever seen. And he's like not even cute enough for her. So like he's walking down the hall with her as well. And it has my least favorite line, which I'll talk about in our superlatives. And as they're walking past, Buffy drops her bag of books. Nope, not books. Full-on medieval weaponry that she is carrying in her 9 West leather bag. Like, what is happening?
It's a replay of that beat from the pilot where her stake rolls out.
Yeah.
But now she's got a full-on
bazooka,
a mace, a whole Iron Maiden,
a catapult.
She's got a guillotine in there.
All in her purse.
It is a cat of 9 tails.
Yeah, and
it's wacky.
Cordelia obviously makes fun of her for being weird, and honestly, point to Cordelia for that one. Like that was weird, Buff. Now we go to English class, and Eric tried to quiz me like I wouldn't know what they were reading. Merchant of Venice. Don't try to quiz a theater kid. We're theater kids for life.
I also a theater kid, and I was giving you an opportunity to shine. I wasn't trying to trick you. I was giving you a chance to show off that wonderful theater degree.
But also I'm more of a theater kid than you.
I don't see how that's possible.
I
was
vote. We're gonna have a vote about who is the bigger thing. Make a vote about.
What do we need to like make our case first, or is this just based on what they know about us already?
I think it's just based on what they know about us already.
How old were you
This
when you
is gonna be
first
like
performed on stage?
5th grade.
I was also in 5th grade. What was the role?
I was a Las Vegas showgirl.
I was Jiminy Cricket, second billing in Pinocchio.
Well, I was the only Las Vegas showgirl. I had a monologue, and I got to perform it at the performance for the parents and friends and family, not just for the student body.
Oh, no, see, mine wasn't at school. Mine was at the local community theater. So,
well, we had a really good arts program, so like we didn't need to go elsewhere to find things to perform. Like we just had the resources at our school.
Well, I didn't go to some fancy school like you. I grew up.
Just kidding. It was a public school in 5th grade.
Oh, well, there you go.
You can vote. All right. So Merchant of Venice, Cordy has
thoughts.
She has thoughts. As a teacher, I felt for this English teacher where you just you don't want to like absolutely shoot a kid down and be like, you're a fucking idiot and you shouldn't have raised your hand. You have to be like, okay, yeah, that's a direction to go. Who has another direction to go?
Because she's interpreting everything wrong.
Right.
But she's giving it a lot of thought and she's putting effort in.
Right.
And she's passionate.
And you don't want to discourage. Yeah. But couldn't be more off base. Frankly, because of who she's talking about, it's bordering on anti-Semitic. Like the way she's talking about it, it was like I felt uncomfortable.
Right.
Just because I'm like, there's a lot of Shakespeare plays. We could do something else. We don't have to talk about
Shylock.
Like that's, So she also talks about how she ran someone over and didn't like that the person whose leg she ran over made it about them. I don't know. I was not Team Cordy in this episode.
But she won us back almost instantly, at least me, because at the end of class, she goes up to the teacher and I thought she was about to say, look, I'm having a real hard time with my paper and I'm running for Maid Queen. So can I just let me out of the paper? That's fully where I expected that scene to go.
But instead she's like, I'm really smart and I'm an overachiever.
Well, what she says is, can you help me with my paper? I'll come in and put in extra work to write a good paper, which is not where I thought Cordelia was headed with it. Yeah. So she got me back.
So now we go to the boys' locker room, and I'll turn it over to you. Eric told me during the watch along that he has a dissertation that he wrote about the locker rooms at Sunnydale High.
So my thoughts are these, and I'm trying to, for those of you on the Patreon who go like, oh, the watch along is just where Eric tests out all the jokes he's going to say in the episode, and it's basically the same show twice. I'm trying to pick and choose and save certain things, especially when there's not time. Bring them up here. So you're getting the full brunt of this. The women's locker room, we've seen the girls' locker room in several episodes.
Dark.
There's one piss-colored light bulb in the back of the room. It's always dark. It's in shadow. They have one little green shower stall that is about the size of the shower in the bathroom in my office.
Yeah. Which, to be clear about how small this is, I can't shower in there because as someone who doesn't suffer from claustrophobia, I am claustrophobic in it.
So they have this rinky-dink little shower. They've got no lights. Here we've got the fucking boys' locker room. They've got 62 individual shower stalls separated by walls. So you can still see from the shoulders up, but they've all got their own space. Skylights. It's lit up like Madison Square Garden. Yeah. It's the size of the airplane hangar the Backstreet Boys shot their I Want It That Way video in. It's fucking massive.
Yeah, that reminds me of the meme. Americans will do anything but use the European measuring system to measure things.
I think someone made a comment about us talking about something and measuring Americans measuring something in I had it, I lost it. If it comes to me, I'll share it. But yeah, the inequality, the quality and the inequality of the boys' locker room versus the girls' locker room is infuriating.
Welcome to being a woman.
The patriarchy sucks a butt.
But we're gonna get a little bit of comeuppance. My other least favorite line is in the song. So we get two.
I remembered it.
What?
I compared the necklace Angel gave to Buffy to 2 sticks of butter.
2 sticks of butter.
Both shape and size.
Yeah.
And someone commented, measuring things in sticks of butter seems like a very American thing to do.
It is.
And I have to agree.
Yeah.
I knew it would come. Sorry to interrupt.
So, 2 of Mitch's friends come up and are like, hey, you got to look pretty good to be on Cordelia's arm. And he says, it's not her arm I'm looking to be on.
Which I get what he's saying, but what is he saying?
He wants to be on her body.
Okay.
Not her arm.
Not just her arm.
He doesn't want to just like dry hump the curve of her elbow. Ma'am.
I thought we don't yuck yums here.
You're right. Apologies. Apologies
it wasn't
around.
A very good
yeah, this guy sucks.
Like there's a way to make a disrespectful comment about your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he failed on
because he's too dumb.
Yes.
He's a dumbo.
At least be creative if you're going to be gross.
But good thing. Everybody leaves except for him and some sort of invisible entity. And we hear laughter. And then he is beaten by an invisible entity holding a bat.
And you made the point. We only ever get the leering point of view, creepy stalker shot when people are changing in the locker room in the show. It never happens in the library.
Yeah.
It never happens in anybody's home. It doesn't happen at the Bronze. But when people are in their skivvies, we get the leering creep up camera.
The ghosts are pervs. Okay. So now we are in the hallway immediately following this beating. And Cordelia is campaigning for May Queen. I can't even get into what May dance is, when the May Queen is happening, when the coronation is happening. Guys, we're going to talk about what is happening when, and we're 100% going to be wrong. We cannot figure out what is happening. Is the May Queen like the prom queen, but the prom is next episode, but why are they already set up at what is happening?
Well, they definitely refer to going to the prom. This dance that this May Queen business is associated with is the prom, but it's not the prom queen. And Buffy just makes matters worse by saying, well, I was May Queen at my old school, but we didn't call it May Queen. Well, then you weren't the May Queen.
Yeah.
Why are we making
What is going on?
This is like in the last episode when they couldn't say Little League, so they called it Kitty League. It's like, is Prom Queen trademarked and they can't say Prom Queen?
Yeah, and then also
confusing.
On top of that, it's like the dance is at the Bronze, but then Cordelia has a dressing room at the school. We'll get to it. It's I'm really confused. I need to talk to the event planner at Sunnydale because I'm so fucking confused.
For everything that was good about this episode, this whole thing doesn't map at all.
So, Cordy says she doesn't need the loser vote from Buffy. I was like, I think you need all votes.
She's giving out candies to people to bribe people.
So no candy for Buffy. And then Zillow walks up and they start laughing about an inside joke that Buffy feels excluded from because she wasn't there. Listen, there are a couple things that are hard to do when you're acting, and I don't envy them. I'm not even saying like I could do better. It's hard to laugh hysterically acting when nothing is funny, and it's nearly impossible to be drunk. Allison Hannigan and Nicholas Brennan are definitely young actors trying to sell laughing hysterically at something, and it didn't work.
Because I think if they had just played it normal, it would have. But they're trying to convey this thing is so funny we can't control ourselves, so we can't breathe, and it doesn't read at all.
But the lines weren't great either.
No, the guy that had antlers on his belt, they had nothing funny to laugh at or say.
Right.
So they were literally conjuring laughter from nothing.
But then that's broken up by someone running in going, hey, everybody, come to the locker room. Mitch got wailed on. I think he's dead. Cut to Principal Snyder, who, say what you want, he runs a tight ship.
He absolutely does, because we see a gurney and some EMTs wheeling this dude out.
Yep.
And Snyder has a great line. He's like, there's no dead students this week. So he's on top of things.
Yeah. So Mitch is wheeled out, and obviously he needs to be questioned by the authorities being the school librarian and a fellow student. And Snyder, to his credit, he's not having it. He's like, why are you trying to investigate what happened in the locker room? You are not the police. But then Zillow distracts Snyder by being like, did you hear Mitch is going to sue the school so Buffy can go in and see what happens?
And Buffy
because Mitch told her, I got hit by an invisible bat. He said that.
Yeah, and so Buffy's like, this is the kind of weird shit that I'm in charge of figuring out.
Right. So Buffy's in the locker room. She sees a bat, and we see not a good outfit from Buffy.
We'll talk about it in detail, but yeah, this outfit was so baffling to me that I said to Ketryn, is this just a case of this is actually very fashionable, but I'm just a little out of touch and I don't like it? And you're like, no, this is awful.
Yeah.
So.
So she goes in and she's investigating, and she closes some of the locker doors and sees that it spells out "look" in big spray painted letters.
So we've got an invisible batterer who's also a graffiti artist,
right?
Just racking up the crimes,
unless
destruction of
unless
school
there's
property.
Two of them.
Yeah, I guess
one does the beatings, one does the signing of the crime.
I suppose that's true. They do just jump right to it. Must be a person,
right?
And they don't know there's not a whole gang of
they don't know
invisibles.
Yeah. So Giles comes into the cafeteria and sits with them to talk, which upset you very much.
No, I just thought
teachers weren't allowed in Eric's school in the cafeteria.
I don't think I ever saw a teacher in our cafeteria.
Really?
They had their own lunchroom.
But I just think there was like lunch groups that sometimes sat together. Like a teacher was like,
Yeah, we didn't have that. It wasn't like forbidden. It just struck me as like, they're already like Harmony already called her out for like, you're always hanging out with the creepy librarian.
Right.
It's not a way to draw less attention to yourself.
Right.
No student in this whole school goes to the library. You could just go do this conversation in the library.
That's fair. Xander then makes a great pun because they're talking about, he was beaten by a bat. And Xander says, was it a
vampire bat?
But it was a good one. I love a pun. Yeah. I like to roll my eyes at puns, but I love puns.
No, yeah, it's a sport. Yeah, you love to hate.
Yes,
puns.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly
you respect the work that goes into them, and you like to find them distasteful at the same time.
You know me so well.
Yes.
So some people have to do research. Some people have to interview Cordelia.
They're divvying up jobs.
Yeah, and Xander's like, I don't want to interview Cordelia. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Well, he wants to do something that begins with with Cordelia. Intercourse.
Oh, okay. I couldn't get past like intersex, Interpol. I was also like, I couldn't find.
I just read
because it was a
Mitch for his bad, gross, degrading line.
Interpol.
And I just did one much worse than
much
his.
worse. It was. Yeah. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So
probably gonna cut that.
Cordy is now upset because her prom date got beaten up, and what are the pictures gonna look like?
I saw that coming 100 miles down the road. I knew that's where she was gonna go with it.
You do only get one prom. And
she's a sophomore. She could potentially have 3 proms.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I think she should just take her pictures alone. I think Cordy could pull that off. Yeah. Just pose with herself.
Just at a red carpet thing where the husband's not famous, so he just waits and holds her purse.
Yeah. Because his face is going to look busted, and also she can do better. So I'm kind of like, Mitch,
why are we committing this relationship to posterity?
Yeah, you're benched. So we then see like a flashback to Cordelia and Harmony talking in this exact same spot, and POV somebody comes up to listen, and Cordy and Harmony are like super rude, like don't engage this person at all.
We got a voice too. We hear a girl's voice, so whoever's eyes were in there, something like, hey, what are you guys talking about, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So we're cluing in on who it is. I found the flashbacks slightly clunky.
Mm-hmm.
I can forgive it because they're brief and they do kind of fill us in a little bit, but it felt like a little bit of a cheat. But I guess we needed.
I didn't mind them actually
some
at all.
Way to kind of, because what it is, it's information that Buffy and Giles and the gang aren't privy to.
Oh, you hate that?
No,
yeah,
I hate that. I just think you have to. It's hard to pull off. Excuse me. It's hard to pull off well.
Uh-huh.
And so it just again, not a hanging offense. That's the theme, but but it was clunky, I thought.
Didn't bother me. Overruled. Back to real time. Buffy asks to talk to Cordelia, but she doesn't have a chance to because Harmony tumbles like a tumbleweed down the stairs, and it is a miracle that all she has is a sprained leg because she tumbled for no less than 34 minutes.
It reminded me of Wesley and Buttercup going down the
yes,
hill, and it just keeps going.
Wish. That's a billion% what it was. I was shocked. I was like, this girl should have a broken neck. Her fucking head should be on the wrong way.
Yeah.
It was bananas. Her hips are up at her ears. Like
when Xander punched that clown last week and he just kept rolling.
Rolled.
She did that all the way down the tallest staircase in Philadelphia.
Bless. Yeah. So Snyder is there, obviously not wanting Harmony to sue now.
Yeah, they put that bug in his head and now he's
obsessed.
That's all he can think about.
Yeah. Buffy then hears giggling as this is all happening, and she sees like a door open and close upstairs. So she goes into the office where she saw it. Eric's doing
I should have untangled
animals with his cord.
Cord's driving me crazy. Sorry, please continue.
So
I was distracting shit, my bad.
Goes into
apologies all around.
Goes into an office and trips over nothing. Like Buffy bumps into something that's not there, and then sees a ceiling panel move. And she's like, I think I just realized maybe why she tripped over her. Was Marcy like trying to get up?
I don't think we don't get the information about her going up yet.
Okay.
She's in her light blue, like all-weather coat.
She does see a ceiling panel, and and she says, I just want to talk. But doesn't get to. So end of the day, we also see these like weirdo like Men in Black, like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones were standing there, and it was weird because I was like, how did they get these guys in? Like, I feel like their price tags are really big, but like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones were both in this episode.
I just got to make a note to remind you to go get your eyes looked at real quick. These guys looked nothing like them, but they were definitely wearing their costumes.
They were wearing their costumes.
They were cosplaying as the Men in Black.
And then I also predicted that the terrible outfit that Buffy had would look better if we had a coat that matched the boots, and she comes out with a coat that matched the boots, and I was correct.
Is that confusing that we didn't discuss the outfit because we're going to discuss it later? Is that hard for people to follow what we're talking about if we don't talk about it?
I trust our audience. I think
hang around. We'll get into it.
So Buffy is telling Giles about Harmony and Mitch, and that the common denominator is Cordelia.
Yep.
And that is a surprise to no one because Cordelia is kind of a bitch. Xander is holding his skateboard again, not riding it.
Yeah, I think he's learned his lesson, but he does definitely still use it as a prop.
Yeah. And we did get a little bit more information about Xander's home life, which I just feel like we need to clock because, as I've said in previous episodes, Xander can be a real effing bonehead. Does some yucko things, makes some choices that like we really can't stand by, but he also is he's the only character that we know comes from an abusive household. So like he's definitely contending with demons, no pun intended, that the others aren't. So right. I just feel like it's important to like point that out. Like,
yeah, he invites before this beat though, they're all standing there and it's like afternoon, school's letting out, school bus is there. And they're like, all right, well, tomorrow, let's look up a list of dead and missing kids. We think this is a student. And I heard a, giggling girl's voice. So maybe it's the ghost of a recently deceased student. But I'm like, why are we waiting until tomorrow? We've got 2 kids in the hospital.
Right.
Maybe do it right now. It was my thought.
Unless it's like, I'm just thinking about this.
Okay.
Snyder's doing a real crackdown on using the library at night, but he lets Cordelia... Scratch that.
But he lets Cordelia have a bridal suite.
I can't stand by it because I was thinking like maybe Willow doesn't have access to the computer systems that she needs to look up like the records of missing kids in Sunnydale at her house. So she's got to do it from school.
But we see Buffy running around the school at night.
Yeah, that's why I don't stand by it. Yeah, Buffy is running around at school at night and Cordelia is there. Truly, you guys, she has a fucking...
Oh, we didn't talk about the Xander thing though.
He says, hey, Willow, do you want to come over for dinner tonight? I think mom's making Chinese, calling out for Chinese. And Willow
he says it funnier than that.
Yeah,
He goes,
I can't remember.
She's making her famous call to the Chinese restaurant.
Right. And Willow says, do you guys even own a stove? Now, obviously, if that's just like one drop in the bucket, that's one thing.
But it's indicative. It's enough that he jokes about it,
yeah,
and that she jokes about it. It's common enough that
and there's going to be an accumulation of information about just like Xander being neglected and abused.
He is deflecting some probably real shame and pain with humor. Yeah.
Okay, so now we go to the school where Cordelia has her own dressing room and literal like handmaidens that are doing her what this was insane.
It made no sense.
This was crazy.
Doesn't she have like a awesome house probably?
Right. Or even have Buffy walk past her at a store, in a store window.
Yes.
Like literally anything else. This was bonkers.
And then you said that one of the girls was doing what?
It looked like she was holding like a baby mobile as decoration.
Now, here's my only thought. And I'm just thinking of this right now.
Okay.
Is this the prom committee and they're getting together and going over decorations, but Cordy's such a bad participant that she's just like, let me try on my dress and look at my dress when we're supposed to be doing prom prep?
I guess it has to be that. Otherwise, this is bananas.
Like her bridal suite.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Giles is in the library and he hears something in the stacks, but he doesn't see anything. And he actually looks in the reflection of like a bookcase with glass doors on it, and nobody is there. Angel's standing right next to him.
Tricky.
But you can't see a vampire's reflection. And Giles really seemed like he was fully, madly, deeply in love with Angel in this scene.
Well, as I said in the watch along, he's got two eyes and a heart, so he was definitely taken in the same way all of us are at this point.
But he couldn't keep it together. Like he was like, he was madly.
I was surprised
madly, truly, deeply.
How not on edge he was, how trusting he was of Angel. Like you said, Angel's been an ally, but he's still a vampire, and Angel felt the tension at least enough to say, like, I'm not here to eat. Don't worry.
Yeah. And I think Giles is the intellectual in him is fascinated because he does even say a vampire in love with a slayer. It's rather poetic. To which I agree.
I think his mood's going to sour on this whole thing in coming episodes.
I would love to read not only Giles' poetry, but Ripper's poetry. You can't tell me Ripper didn't write a poem or two. I know he did.
Tortured poet.
Yeah, he did. He would have totally dated Taylor Swift and she would have written an album about him. Angel's talking about something else. Angel is concerned with the macro of Sunnydale. We're dealing with the micro issue of some invisible flautist trying to beat up jocks, which I'm sort of like, take your time. Angel thinks something is brewing
with
Kool-Aid Mouth beneath us. And Giles is like, I've kind of tapped out my resources. Like, I need more.
There's specific books that have been lost prophecies. To antiquity.
Yeah.
And Angel says the weirdest thing. It's not my worst line, but I considered it, where he goes, oh, unfortunately, it was lost in the 15th century. And Angel goes, it's not lost. It's misplaced. And I'm like, guy, that means the same shit.
Yeah, that's dumb. So Angel says, I'm going to get the Slayer Codex for you or something.
It's misplaced and I'm going to get it for you.
He needs more prophecies to kind of know like what's going on with Kool-Aid Mouth. We get another flashback where we actually get to see who Invisible Girl is. And it is 90s sweetheart Clea Duvall.
Of the faculty and Marjorie from Veep.
From Veep, yeah. She is in the bathroom. Cordy and her minions come in and Marcy is her name, is really trying to engage with the conversation. And they are truly, truly treating her so invisibly that it like really broke my heart.
It was hard to watch, and her performance was fantastic.
She's great. She had such a great she really tapped into in the 90s like a very specific kid.
You know who I always thought she reminded me of? She was blue collar Claire Danes.
Yes. Great analogy. So we now know who it is, and that she was made to feel invisible at school.
So
that's
we're
all we
starting
know
to put
so
together
far.
the metaphor a little bit at this point.
We then another inexplicable event is happening. God, I'm just so stressed, like with the event planning here. Cordy is now accepting her title as May Queen at lunch period
In the courtyard of the school on a school day
where there's decorations. Like, I don't know what this is. I don't know the politics of Sunnydale High.
So what? But this isn't the official coronation. That's still to come.
Yeah.
So where's the suspense?
What is going
on? Why isn't this happening at the dance?
Yeah. So, but as this is happening, we see that like the two agents are like still on the grounds and just like lurking around. And I kind of was like, where's Snyder? Like,
right.
I don't feel like he would stand for this.
Well, again, this is pre-Columbine. Anybody that wanted to could just walk onto a school campus.
Right. But I feel like Snyder would be like, what are you two doing here?
Unless he's in on it. Unless they've alerted him. We have some kind of, official agent business.
Maybe. And he also would love that. He would love that. That's true. I bet that's what happens. So, and
they probably had to rope him into it by like giving him an official job. Like, and what we need you to do is really keep things tight around here in order for us to do our job. Like, you're our deputy.
Right. And he, did he love that?
Yeah.
So we're starting to figure out who it is because they got that list of missing girls and they're like, okay, it's Marcy Ross. She disappeared 6 months ago and she played the
flute.
All coming together. So,
and it's funny to me. We got a flute. She was in the band. We got Allison Hannigan standing right there.
Mm-hmm.
And this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my
Buffy goes into like the band room, the orchestra room where people play instruments.
You seem baffled by the concept of that just now.
Well, because
like, why would you have a whole room for a band?
Well, because
thing in a school.
Yeah, I don't know why I was baffled by it. It did trip me up there, didn't it?
It'd be like if the school had an aquarium.
Yeah, it did trip me up. It tripped me up. I'm not sure what I thought was happening. Okay, so, back in the band. So now we see a footprint on, a stool or something. Buffy looks up and she's like, she's up in the ceiling. So she goes up there and she sees that there's this like whole little like spot where somebody's living,
like a little
up
clubhouse
there.
Nest.
Yes. It's like really fucking heartbreaking. Like she like had to find all that stuff and carry it up there. And also like, I don't know, like she's not being invisible at her house, which I guess would be really hard too. Like, God, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah. Well,
like she has a house, but what is she going to do? Like just walk around the house while her parents are like, fuck, my kid is missing.
Right. And not tell them, or who knows, maybe the parents made her feel invisible too.
Right.
Maybe they're part of the problem. She might also be trying to evade the Men in Black. Like, who knows what?
Yeah, God. Oh, God. Yeah. This is so much more tragic than
we even came into it. No.
Yeah, damn. So Buffy finds the yearbook and she confirms that it's Marcy Ross, the girl that was missing for 6 months. And then we see, pretend my finger is a knife.
And I'll be Buffy reading a yearbook.
The knife didn't make that noise though. It was silent. But it was also a knife. But she doesn't stab her. Buffy gets up and takes the yearbook with her.
I think because she sees that Buffy
sees her.
Yes, she's a little bit invisible herself. She's a little bit of an outcast herself. Even her, as Cordy would put it, loser friends leave her out of certain things. So I think that's what spared Buffy at this point.
Yeah. But invisible Marcy has more business to do. And it was not just the students that were ignoring her, which does add credence to your theory that her parents probably made her feel invisible too. God! Because the English teacher that we know was expecting Cordelia, but somebody invisible comes in the door.
Somebody invisible. We don't know who.
Somebody invisible comes in.
We can't actually confirm it was her. We can't see
That's true. We don't know that there's just one invisible. There might be many invisibles that play different instruments.
Whole invisible band.
Yeah. But she fucking puts a plastic bag over teacher's head.
That was horrific.
Yeah, that was some Black Christmas ass terrifying shit. That was really scary. That's actually one of my like, obviously I don't want to be murdered like in any way.
But you're gonna rank them now.
Yeah, like I really don't want to be suffocated with a plastic bag over my head.
Okay. Here's my move on the plastic bag thing. I don't know why nobody just thinks to just pop your thumb in there and poke a hole in it.
I think it's the adrenaline.
Yeah.
But
I've thought through this, sort of like when you have a fake name chambered, so you don't have to search for a name.
Yeah.
I've thought about if someone puts a bag over my head, the first time he's going there, with my fingernail.
I mean, that would probably be smart. But like one of the things that they say is like that act of like breathing and it being restricted, which is also like what waterboarding is, it triggers a mechanism in your body where like it kind of turns off like all that's available is like your lizard brainstem, basically. So like even the act of like, this is a plastic bag. If I open my mouth, I can poke a hole in it. I have an understanding that plastic bags can have hole. Like I don't think any of that cognitive function is happening. And that's one of the reasons that it's used in torture.
I almost want to be tested.
No.
I almost want to see if I would actually recall that.
No. Okay, I'll do it tonight.
No, it can't be you. It has to be someone who's really trying to kill me. Because how let's say I fuck it up and you actually kill me. I don't want that on your chest.
Yeah.
I don't want that on your heart, on your conscience.
That's true.
But so I just have to pray.
It's like
I'll just see if I can manifest a stranger to attack me and put a bag over.
Oh my God. Okay, can we actually like hold on? I have to sage that. That wasn't even a good joke. That was don't say that. But it is reminding me of in 30 Rock where Jack hires a ninja to come out and attack him at random times. And he's like, even if I say don't come out and attack me, that's when you should come out and attack me. Until he's like, I'm serious this time. Don't come out and attack me. And of course he does.
That's why you need a safe word.
Yeah, exactly. Marcy. Yeah. So Invisible Marcy puts the bag over English teacher's head. And I was like, she looked fucking dead. Like that was, but Cordy runs in later, little bit later. Can't be that much later.
She was supposed to be there for her tutoring session and the teacher thought it was her. So she's within minutes of showing up. And
pulls the bag over, up off of her head. And
I thought we were going to get her scream again. She's got such a great scream. I really was like rooting for a Cordelia scream.
Well, she went into
problem solver mode.
We got a scream at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But then we see chalk right on the board invisibly. Well, the chalk is visible. The thing holding the chalk is invisible. Says, listen.
So we've got 2 messages so far, and they are...
Look and listen.
Listen. Look and listen.
Look and listen.
Buffy then shows everyone Marcy's yearbook.
This was such good writing.
Tragic. So basically, Buffy is leading Xander and Willow to be like, nobody saw this girl, including you two, because they opened the yearbook and the only thing written by every single person that signed it was "Have a nice summer," which is truly the kiss of death. Like if somebody wrote "Have a nice summer" in your yearbook,
that means I have nothing to say to you. I know nothing about you.
Yeah.
But Buffy doesn't just come right in and say, hey, you guys ignored this girl. She's like, it's like a courtroom drama.
Did you know her?
She drags it out and lays the trap for them to fall into it.
Yeah.
Because even Willow was like, oh my God, that's the kiss of death. If someone writes that, it means they don't know anything about you. They don't like you.
You wrote it too, Willow. And she's like, well, I wrote great summer. Have a great summer. But that's rough. I mean, if Willow Rosenberg isn't even tuned into you, damn.
And Giles has my best line in this scene, which I'll tell you at the end.
Okay.
But,
so this is where Giles starts to be like, okay, this is a quantum mechanical situation, being like somebody's state of mind is affecting the quantum physics of the realm.
Yeah, he says that according to quantum theory, your perception can shape reality.
That's exactly what I said.
That plus Hellmouth means
equals.
She felt invisible.
Therefore
she became invisible.
I feel rich.
You have to believe it though.
I do. I do believe I was meant to be very wealthy.
Yeah, you live in a manner that would imply that.
I think I was in a past life. I think this is why it's so difficult for me
to be
so poor.
So Giles thinks we got Schrodinger's Marcy on
Yeah.
our hands here.
We get another flashback to why Marcy had it out for that teacher. And listen, as a fellow educator, that teacher needed to feel Marcy's energy and see that Marcy, I'm actually not joking right now. You were like, lots of people had their hand up. You can feel in the room who needs you to call on them.
Someone needs some recognition. Because, I was like, a lot of people raise their hands. She only calls on a few of them. She doesn't get to everybody.
You can feel it.
I still felt like, and this is what we talk about ramping up,
Mm-hmm.
the treatment she got from Cordy and Harmony earlier felt much more harsh than what the teacher did. So to put this third in the succession, I didn't feel like this was as bad as Cordy and them constantly refusing to acknowledge her jokes and then telling her to leave them alone.
Couldn't disagree more. If you are being bullied in school, who are presumably the people that you go to say, I had a really bad day at school, or I need support,
Right.
or you're the person I can go to if I'm being bullied in your classroom. It's your parents or your teacher.
And as a teacher, you are very in tune with this.
Yeah. And so I do think that, and this is where she starts to go invisible in the classroom. I think she's like
she does a Marty McFly where her hand starts to disappear.
Yeah. But it's like, everybody knows the trope that like kids are assholes, but like the teacher won't even look at that. Fucking...
And I guess I will walk it back a little bit in that the teacher wasn't being malicious.
Yeah.
This girl just does not exist.
Right. Which is worse. Indifference is often worse than hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back in the library, we see that they're, still talking about it. Buffy's like, we did this to her. Like, this is on us as a society, basically. And Cordelia comes in, and basically everything Cordelia says in this scene, I'm like, the best line. Like, just that whole scene. Like, I did talk about this in the watch along a little bit, but like, I love critiquing acting. I think sometimes maybe it comes off as me like not enjoying it because I'm often like critical of somebody's choice, but I enjoy figuring out if something doesn't work for me. I enjoy figuring out why it didn't work. And I enjoy figuring out why something does work. And Cordelia has all of these lines that are very like, one of them is, I know we've had our differences on account of you being so weird and all, and you hanging out with these total losers. Like, the obvious choice that you would see is someone going, hanging out with these total losers, like basically making your intention match the words. And it's like, we don't need to do that because the words are already there. And instead, she really comes in genuinely looking for help. And this is the only way she knows how to describe her situation. She's being genuine.
Yeah. And the words she chooses reflect her worldview. She's not even insulting them.
Right.
She's like, these are objectively losers and we are in different social castes.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't find common ground now.
And that I need you because I was hoping, Buffy, you were in a gang.
She's like, I know you're strong. You got a bag of weapons.
Right. I mean, she's not far off.
Right. She's in a gang. She's in the Scooby gang.
Yeah. So... Okay, I will save that for my actual favorite line, though. I just read it and my heart was aflutter. So Cordelia also says she's never seen Marcy in her life when she's shown her the picture, which is particularly heartbreaking because we have, in fact, seen two exact flashbacks where Cordelia is looking directly at this person.
Yeah.
So that was rough. Marcy is now up in her little fort, just ranting, just cuckoo, mad Looney Tunes ranting. And we see that she's got some ropes and some other things. And
they got a candlestick. She's got a revolver. She's got all the things.
Yeah. So Marcy is listening to this whole conversation from the stacks of the library. So their plan is foiled, where basically they're going to use Cordy as bait
to draw her out.
and Cordelia has to wear her dress to do it. This was a little convoluted.
Yeah.
But
and I said at the time, and I give myself credit for this, I was like, why do they think Marcy's going to wait until she's got the dress on to do to make her move?
Well, she is pretty into symbolism. Like, it's not like she's coming by and just like jail shanking everybody. Like, she's making kind of a production out of every single one and like writing a message at the end.
But what happened? I said Cordy goes into a broom closet to put on the dress, and she and Buffy are talking through the door.
Yeah.
And I said,
well, before you say that, because Cordy actually does have a really poignant line here, where she's having a genuine moment with Buffy saying like, I get lonely as well because people are so concerned with being in her orbit that they don't listen to her. They're just trying to gain status from being around her. So Buffy says, then why do you work so hard to be popular? And Cordelia says, it's better than being lonely all by yourself.
Yeah.
Woof.
And I thought it gave us a lot of insight into her. And when Giles tells Angel about, and we're hunting for an invisible girl, and Angel's like, hey, I got time for that. I'm on this other thing. Giles talks about what an intriguing power that must be. And Angel says, I don't know, looking in the mirror and not seeing anything looking back at you, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Right.
So he gets to reinforce the theme. Now we get Cordy kind of reinforcing the theme of the episode. When you can have characters who have wildly different points of view and wildly different places in the story, all kind of echoing the theme. I just thought it was so well written. I
Agreed.
Thought it was so brilliant.
That it made the things that were like a little clunky, like not really matter.
Yeah.
Which I always find interesting. That's like, you know, not everything has to be perfect, but like you can hide a lot with good writing and good acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Cordelia and Buffy are in one little pod. The rest of the library gang starts hearing a flute. And so Giles and Zillow go to look for this flute. It takes them into the boiler room. They go into the boiler room and Invisible Marcy locks them in, blows out the pilot light, and turns the gas on.
Because she wasn't sitting in there playing the flute. It was a recording.
Oh, right. It was a recording.
They were just playing she was playing a tape of flute music.
Listen, I don't want to give away the end, but like she's exhibiting a lot more than just invisibility. That's all I'm gonna say.
She's diabolical.
Yeah.
She's given Darla a run for her money in terms of how intricate and elaborate these traps are.
Yeah. Yeah. So Buffy is now talking to Cordelia through the wall, and Cordelia stops talking. So Buffy's like, Cordelia. She goes in and she quickly sees Cordelia being carried up into the ceiling.
And that's what I said. Is like, why do they think that she's not going to be vulnerable when Buffy is not with her, when they're separated by a door? I literally said, well, if I was Marcy, I would do it. I would do it now. Right now. And that's what they did.
So Buffy goes into the ceiling. She finds Cordy passed out in Marcy's little fort, but falls through the ceiling panel, which Eric and I were waiting for this to happen. And we see that a doctor bag is plopped down in front of Buffy, and a syringe. Let's do it again. Okay. Syringe comes out.
So Buffy's
past,
she just falls asleep on the floor, and then she starts.
And then we get. That's the sound of a needle, by the way. It's a little bit higher pitched than a knife. I don't know if you guys were able to tell that. I don't know how attuned your ears are, but syringe, little bit higher sound than a knife.
So everyone just factor that in when you're taking her critiques on acting.
So we're at the bronze now. We cut to Cordy waking up tied to a chair, Buffy waking up tied to a chair. And Cordy is like, I can't feel my face. So and
again, can't map what the plan is with this dance
I can't even
and coronation.
Go there. Like I can't even go there. I'm so stressed
because
about
they're at the bronze. It sounds like at one point the thing is supposed to be tonight, but the bronze is completely empty.
Yeah, may or may not be fumigating.
We see the sign from the fumigation, but we don't know if that's a holdover from episode 7 or if it's always being fumigated? Why there doesn't seem to be anyone there setting up for a thing that's supposed to happen within hours?
I don't know that Snyder focuses as much on like event planning. Like, I don't know that he pours the resources into like organized event planning
He's
for the
pretty
school.
much just cracking the whip the whole time.
Yeah. And I think that that's short-sighted, honestly, because this whole May Queen prom coronation bronze dance is a mess.
I can't tell you when it was supposed to happen. I can't tell you if the events of this episode have caused it to be postponed.
Yeah.
Or if it went off without a hitch. Because at the end of the episode, it sounds like maybe it happened.
Right.
But also, I looked ahead and I thought that the next episode was the dance. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's really confusing. We just have to move on because we don't know what's going on. And the problem is that Zillow and Giles are still trapped and the gas be leaking, right? And
Giles says something funny. He looks around for 1 second and he goes, I can't find the shutoff valve. It's like, you literally just started looking like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, but he also was cuckoo
He
from
started
gas.
to get the gas.
He thought he'd been looking for like 4 hours. So Marcy is now, we see that the third L, we had look, listen, and now we have learn. She's going to teach them a lesson. And so we get, some diabolical
villain telling out their whole thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And Zillow and Giles are blacking out. And there's a scalpel floating in the air as we go back to the bronze. And it's, you can face me this time. The scalpel has a slightly different tone to it, but it, you have to attune your ear.
I'm Cordelia. I'm all tied up. I'm
right.
all wrapped up in ropes.
Ready? Did you hear that? It was like there was a little bit of a sound, but it was a. Did you hear? Did you hear that? Buffy is wiggling out, and she kicks the tray that has the
medical accoutrement.
Yeah, medical accoutrement. I like that better.
You could call it utensils.
Utensils. Yeah. Down in the boiler room, they're passed out. It is good night for Zillow and Giles. But wait, the door opens. It is a very sexual vampire here to save them.
Looking fine in his wife respecter under his jacket.
He came back to the school to bring Giles the codex. Good thing Giles requested that. Mm-hmm. Smelled the gas. Smelled? He's a vampire, doesn't have air. Eric thinks that air can still pass by your olfactory cells.
As you move, the air will still go in even if you're not inhaling. That's how I justify that. I got no problem with it.
Sustained. So Angel lets them out. Back at the bronze, Buffy has a great line where she calls Marcy a thundering loony, and Eric reminded me that she does like to describe things as thundering. What was the other thing?
She said that when she was telling Willow and Xander the first time she saw a vampire, she just thought they were guys in thundering need of a facial.
Yeah.
So
this is where I wrote Cordelia is so good at being scared.
She is the best actor in the core cast of this show.
Yeah. So now something that I missed earlier because we both sort of missed it in this watch of it. Giles does at one point get on Buffy for like not listening well enough, which then is paid off in this scene where Marcy says to Buffy, how are you going to fight someone that you can't see? Buffy then says, shh.
And she tells Cordelia, she says, shut up.
Shut up.
Now, the last time someone told Cordelia to shut up, it was Vamp Jessie. And Cordelia
was like,
had a woo, like a shiver ran through her.
Yeah.
She kind of does the same thing here. Buffy tells it to her and she gets some kind of sense memory. And she's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, I think Cordelia craves discipline.
I think she does too. I think she really does too. So like slow-mo, wind is blowing subtly and we can tell that Buffy is using her Slayer sense to figure out where Marcy is.
It's one of the coolest shots that's been in the show up to this point.
She turns and punches into the air, something falls back, and the only reason we know that is because she falls back into a red curtain, and so now Buffy is able to see like the mound
Where she
of a
is.
person.
Now, you
under a
said
curtain.
lucky she didn't like try and fight her way out of the curtain. And even if she needed to stay in there,
Mhm.
I would have rather seen her trying to
Agreed.
scramble to get out of the curtain.
Yeah.
She just stands there like a red ghost.
Yeah,
But-
a red ghost. So we're like, oh shit, citizens arrest by Columbuff. But no, the agents come in.
Well, she socks her really good.
Oh yeah, does sock her really hard. The agents come in like the fucking who's the guy that Dennis from 30 Rock plays in Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Is he the vulture.
The Vulture. These fucking guys come in like the fucking Vulture from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
They're going to get credit for the arrest. And they did none of the work.
Yeah. Also, you were mad that Cordelia's wrist was tied again. That's actually a blooper on IMDb. That her wrist is untied, and then the very next shot, Cordelia is like, "Can you untie me?"
Yeah, Buffy's trying to get her out, and there's room for 3 Cordelia wrists under that rope.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see it, I think Cordelia tied herself up.
Yeah.
So as not to have to participate in the fight.
Yeah,
That's
truly.
my headcanon.
So, yay. Marcy is taken away by Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
And
Never to be
these
seen again.
guys are hungry, and they are snacking on scenery.
Oh my gosh.
These guys think they're getting their own show.
Absolutely are desperately trying for their own spinoff for sure. So it's the next day. Zillow and Giles are telling Buffy about what happened in the boiler room, but interestingly, they don't want to say that Angel saved them because Angel and Buffy are trying to not be around each other.
And so Giles says it was the janitor.
Yeah. Cordy then comes up and thanks them. And we see that Xander is wearing yet another inappropriate t-shirt, which once again, this is a 15-year-old boy that is walking out of the house to school with these t-shirts on. It's not appropriate.
Okay, well, here's what I'll tell you about this. So I have another story. So last time,
I don't blame Xander.
Yeah, last time he was wearing the porn star t-shirt. I told you about how I wore to school a Guns N' Roses shirt with a cartoon of a naked woman on it, and they made me turn my shirt inside out, which was the right call.
Yes.
I have another inappropriate shirt story.
Oh my God, what?
So my grandfather,
my God.
Big Andy, was a tavern proprietor, and at the end of his life, he actually owned a strip club in Fort Myers, Florida. That might be the most white trash sentence I've ever said.
Yeah.
My grandfather owned a strip club in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah. Called
Martin's Topless Lounge.
Nope. That was the most white trash.
And my dad had a drawer full of Martin's Topless Lounge t-shirts that had a cartoon of a fully naked woman, and my brother and I would wear them as sleep shirts as little kids. So every time Xander wears something inappropriate, I'm re-traumatized about the way I was raised.
Unbelievable. And it's funny because like of all the upbringings that we're starting to see amongst our Scoobies, Xander's is the closest to yours, which is...
I definitely had some Buffy Joyce once my parents were divorced and I was living with my mom.
But your mom wasn't doing Joyce work.
My mom was the... we're not going to get into all that.
Well, now you got to just give one sentence.
She once made a comment. I feel bad because she's no longer with us, but she said, sometimes it feels more like we're roommates than mother and son.
Yeah, that's not great.
And I was like, yeah, no, but I think I'm a teenager. Maybe I need a mom.
Yeah. It's not great. So you and Xander, I think would have just, I think you would have been really good for Xander.
Yeah.
Honestly, because you also have like, you do have a kindness and like you have your empathy is never short circuited by your trauma.
And I think
his is sometimes.
Yeah, I think he's got nastier moments maybe than I ever had. But I will say his trauma doesn't defeat him. He's got a resilience. No. He's able to keep
which is also
his
like
good spirit much of the time. And I definitely
I think you guys would have been.
Oh, we got deep today.
I know.
That's wild.
You would have been a great influence on Xander. So
could have worn our inappropriate shirts around together.
Oh my God damn it. I'd be the teacher that would be coming up to you being like, guys, are you really going to make
how many times are we going to do this?
What do we? Yeah. So we then see what happened to Marcy. She is at Invisible Assassination School. She has been recruited by Black Ops And she opens up her book in a room of invisible people. So how did she know which chair to sit in? That was insane.
That was probably the most awkward game of musical chairs ever.
Yeah.
Finding her seat, sitting on a bunch of laps.
But she seemed to luck out. First one she sat down, I didn't hear any whoa. So I guess she got an empty one. But she opens up her book to Infiltration and Assassination chapter. And that was the origin story of Marjorie Palmiotti from Veep.
You may be teasing my most likely.
I think I'm teasing my also most likely. So,
well, there we are. Well, let's get into it. Yearbook committee meeting is now in session.
Okay.
We're going to do this in an order here. So who'd you have for worst dressed?
Worst. It's so funny. Every time we do this, and I just need to stop writing it, I write outfit. So whenever you say dressed, I'm looking for the word dress. I'm like, did I not do that one?
No.
I did. Worst outfit was Marcy's. It really washed her out.
Jesus I just need a minute.
It took you a long time. It took you so long.
I was thinking about what was she wearing in the flashbacks?
It took you so long.
No, that's good.
Thank you.
All right. Worst, I had, we hinted at it, Buffy's first outfit. White, cute little top, floral pink skirt.
Cherries, actually.
But very springy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
springy.
And then dark brown knee-high leather riding boots.
Yeah,
like what is that outfit? And you said, I bet you there's a coat that ties this together. And later we see her in a coat. But sans the coat, that was rough. A wreck of an outfit.
Yeah.
What did you have for best dressed?
Best outfit. I loved her little black t-shirt, which did have a decal on it, but I didn't mind it. And then a pink mini skirt and black tights. And I liked it.
Also, same. Great minds. All right. Best line.
Everything Cordy said in the library, but I particularly liked when Giles says, I don't see you in here very often, meaning the library. And she goes, oh, no, I know. I have a life. And her delivery was just, mwah.
She got to be in this one a lot.
Yeah.
And she hit home runs every time she got
really
up to bat.
Yeah.
My line was talking about Buffy and Willow were explaining the kiss of death that is have a nice summer.
Mm-hmm.
And Giles says, once again, I teeter at the precipice of the generation gap. I just thought it was such a great way to say he didn't understand it. All right. So what'd you have for worst line?
Worst line. Not her arm I'm looking to be on.
That was a good that was a good candidate.
Yeah.
I actually unfortunately Cordy gets my worst line.
Okay.
And it's more it was a good line for her character and she delivered it well, but she's a garbage human for saying this.
Right.
People who think their problems are so huge craze me. Like this time I sort of ran over this girl on my bike. It was the most traumatizing event of my life, and she's trying to make it about her leg. Like my pain meant nothing.
Woof. Woof.
And it's just a testament to Charisma Carpenter that she doesn't lose us when she does stuff like that. There's a little
part of us that's like, yeah, why was that girl being such a crybaby?
What'd you have for best move?
Best move was when Ripper came out for a moment and Xander has his feet up on the table and he gives him just a quick little tap, tap, tap to get him off the table. And I just liked it.
That's not what I was expecting to say. Usually we go with a fight move, but that was
my move.
I liked curtains for Marcy. I liked when she punched her into the curtains.
That was good.
And I think the Arya Stark moment where she's going to tune into her hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Leading up to that.
That was great.
Count that as all one thing. And then we've got, usually we do this first, but
let's read them together. You ready? On the count of 3. We'll say most likely 2. Okay.
Okay. This is going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to say 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Most likely to become the head of the president's security detail and marry the first daughter, Marcy, short for Marjorie Palmiotti.
On Veep.
Okay, now you read yours.
So is most likely to have a career. I think I got busy listening to yours, so I only read about every third word. Most likely to have a career where she blends in Marcy, going by her real name Marjorie, as a Secret Service agent on Veep.
Okay, this is I wrote all this
My
exact
mouth
thing.
hurts from laughing.
Okay. Most likely to become the head of the president's security detail and marry the first daughter, Marcy, short for Marjorie Palmiotti.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All
All right.
Are you doing our closing business?
No.
No, I'm back in.
Yeah.
You tap me back in. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. That was fun. At least we thought so. Hopefully you did as well. Like, subscribe, comment, check out our Patreon. And if you want to check out our other show, Kim and Ket Stay Alive Maybe, co-hosted by her and the hilarious Kim Burns, produced by me, comes out every Wednesday. They try and survive horror movies every week. And you can listen to that anywhere you listen to podcasts. They're on social media at KK Sam Podcast. Follow this show on all the things at Major Slayage Pod. And we will see you next Monday for the season 1 finale.
Whoa!
Extravaganza Eleganza.
Love it.
We got a couple fun little special things planned for that. So just be sure to check in with us then. And until then,
dust you later.